What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So this is the second portion of the clip that we were watching. I posted it earlier today. It's Rick Scott. He was on Fox News. So if you didn't catch that video, check that video out. And we're just going to talk a little bit about what's going on when it comes to Medicare and Social Security and Rick Scott's, his plan to move forward. That's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. Okay, so let's go back to listen to what he has to say. Here we go.
Give me a couple of areas that you know you could cut off the bat in terms of waste, and that would really help, because it's hard to believe or imagine, not hard to believe, why Democrats wouldn't come to the table on at least a few things. I mean, they know it's a swamp. So give us a couple of examples of maybe things that you need to do immediately.
Well, we could get rid of the new money with the 87,000 IRS agents. We could get rid of the 7,500 earmarks that were passed in the omnibus bill. We could stop all this Green New Deal stuff with the CHIPS bill, which had nothing. There was no accountability in the CHIPS bill. That's $280 billion. There's so many things that are just, they don't do anything for the American public except for cause more inflation, cause more debt, cause your interest expenses to go up. So all we have to understand, if we keep raising the debt ceiling with no structural change, okay, interest rates are going to continue to go up, right? Inflation is going to continue to be bad. That's what's going to happen. There's a complete correlation.
Okay, so he talked about the different things that they can do to make these cuts. The reality is they've already been voted on. They've already been passed. They've already been signed off. So they would have to go back, create new bills, and send those bills through both the House, which they'll probably pass in the House, then to the Senate. The Senate's probably not going to pass it, and the president is not going to sign off on them. So this is wishful thinking. He knows that this won't happen, but he still wants to go down this road when it comes to the debt ceiling. Let's use the debt ceiling, and if they don't honor our demands, then we're just going to just crush the whole economy. It doesn't make any sense. Moving forward, I agree, and I think most people agree, we need to work on a lot of things when it comes to their spending. We need to start with their salaries, because they're making $175,000 a year, and they work maybe 2-3 weeks out of the month, every month. We need to work on that. We need to focus on that. We need to look at their budgets when it comes to their offices. We need to look at a lot of different things when it comes to cutting, but we definitely need to have a good economy moving forward. And when it comes to their salary, they should be making what the average person makes in the U.S. That should be their salary. No more. We shouldn't be looking at people making $175,000. Most people will never reach that level of making $175,000 a year. And we're giving it to these politicians, and they have no incentive to focus on the middle class, the working class, and the poor. They have no incentive to. But you can incentivize them by putting their salary at the national average. You put their salary at the national average, and guess what? They're going to be thinking about, okay, wow, it's hard to live on this. And so that's what we need to focus on when it comes to that. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. Here we go.
Do you believe the White House when it's reported that they literally won't negotiate with you?
Yeah, I mean, with this, in the end, I'm proud of the House Republicans that are committed to making sure we preserve Medicare, we preserve Social Security, and we get our fiscal house in order. But we have got to stop caving into the Democrats over here on the Senate side and stop wasteful spending, because that's what's causing this debt to go up.
Yeah, this is so stressful for people who are, quite frankly, the president's age. Like that's another reason why I don't really understand, and you talked about where Democrats cut Medicare, protecting that batch of years, those golden years, is everybody's. We're only growing in one direction. So what happens next, do you think?
Well, first off, I hope Biden will start being honest. We have the money to pay for Medicare, Social Security, the interest expense, the military right now. We're going to collect $4.5 trillion this year. So we have plenty of money to do those things.
This year.
But what he just wants all this waste. The Democrats want all this waste. So first thing we have to do is we have to acknowledge we got to solve this problem, and then we all have to come to the table and say, there is waste. Let's fix it.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying. The waste is what eats your future, and the future just isn't that far off. It's less than 10 years and even less than that for Medicare. All right, let's move to this. Republican Congressman Tom Massey called out the nation's debt. He's been seen around the Capitol sporting a handmade national debt clock badge. Larry Kudlow with this.
Biden and the Democrats are absolutely incapable of telling the truth about this story.
Whoa.
They will do anything not to cut spending after a $1.7 trillion omnibus bill full of waste, fraud, and abuse. Those Democrats will do anything, lying through their teeth. I mean this sincerely. I don't like to use that word, but these are just false charges.
Okay, let's just pause right there. I have to get your reaction to that because you have to negotiate with these people, and you hear Larry Kudlow describing Democrats as they're incapable of telling the truth about what we owe.
Well, they're not going to be honest with the American public. I mean, they like.
It's funny that he says that they're not going to be honest with the American people. I just showed you, and he's been saying this for 6 months. I just showed you how dishonest he was, and it's amazing that he says that, right? It just baffles my mind. And most people will not fact check these politicians, so they don't know if they're lying or telling the truth. But it's funny. You tell a lie, and then you say that the other side is being dishonest. It's amazing to me.
All the spending, and by the way, there's plenty of money plenty of people make money off of government. When we sell the bonds, Wall Street makes a lot of money. I mean, look at what's happened. As we've run up this debt especially over the last 20 years, guess what? The rich have gotten richer, right? Wall Street's done really well. The DC bureaucrats are doing really well. That's who's making money off this, and that's who's pushing this. So let's think about the American public that is just suffering every day.
That's a flip of what the rhetoric isn't it?
Oh,
like Democrats are looking across the aisle at you as Republicans and saying, we are the ones who care about the middle class and seniors. But now what we're seeing is that's not actually true.
They cut Medicare. I mean, Harris, they cut Medicare. Just what, 4 months ago, they cut $280 billion out of Medicare, and they want to say, we want to cut it? No, I'm going to fight like hell to make sure we preserve Medicare and Social Security, because we can, we should, we owe it to our seniors, but we got to do it by living within our means. You do it, Harris, you have to do it all.
Everybody does it.
Yeah, government should do it.
Yeah, you get this much. You can't live off of this much.
Okay, so that's all we're going to play for today. But, interesting, right? Just listening to what he's saying, it's just amazing to me. And like I said, you can fact check exactly what I just did when it came, and he doubled down on it when it came to talking about the $280 billion. He's still saying this. He said it twice in this interview. And you have an interviewer that's going along with it. Yeah, this is crazy. They say they're for the elderly, but they're doing this. This is crazy. But it's not true. And that's the sad part about it. And that's why we can't move forward as a country, because we have politicians that are lying on both sides. And they're not being honest and saying, look, this is a good thing. $280 billion cut, that's actually good. That's what we want. We want to save money. We don't want to have to give these middlemen money and have people in between the pharmaceutical companies and Medicare. So it's just, it's really sad. It really is. Now, another thing that I just want to talk about really briefly, the debt ceiling. What is the debt ceiling? Why are we raising the debt ceiling? We need to pay our bills. That's what it comes down to. What the Republicans are doing is they're actually using this as leverage, because it has not, these things have nothing to do with each other when it comes down to it, because you've already spent the money. You've already gone out and you bought that brand new car, and now it's 2 or 3 years later and you're saying, you know what, I don't want to pay for that car anymore. That's not the way it works. Basically, you have to pay every month on your car until you're done when it comes to your financing. And so we've already spent the money. Now they're talking about, well, we need to roll back some of the things that we just passed over the last few years. That doesn't make any sense. What they need to do is they need to pay their bills, and then moving forward, they can make the cuts that they see fit. But using the debt ceiling, putting us in a situation, just like I was saying, if you buy a car and 3 years down the road, you decide, you know what, I don't want to pay for that car anymore. I don't want to pay that monthly payment. What is going to happen? Your credit is gonna suffer, and you could end up losing that car, having someone repossess your car from you. And so that's what we're looking at right now when it comes to the government and our economy. We need to pay the bills, and if we don't pay the bills, then we are going to suffer. Our economy is going to suffer, which means everyone will suffer. Even the politicians will suffer as a result of this. And some of them can lose their jobs as a result of making this decision. And so they're using it. They're talking about it right now. We're not going to raise the debt ceiling until they negotiate with us. But realistically, you can raise the debt ceiling and do a negotiation at the same time. You can do that. But what the White House is saying is we need to raise the debt ceiling, and we can talk. We can talk all year. We can talk for the next 2 years about making cuts. And I think both sides will look at this and say, yes, we can make cuts. They just can't agree what to make cuts on. That's the big problem, because you're going to have Republicans say, well, we need to cut this, this, and this. And then Democrats are going to say, well, we need to cut this, this, and this. They can't agree upon what to cut. But one of the things that at least the majority of the politicians, both Democrats and Republicans, have said that they don't want to cut Social Security and Medicare. But you still have some Republicans that are saying, no, we need to look into it. We can't take it off the table. Democrats have taken it off the table when it comes to cutting those programs. You have some Republicans that have not taken it off the table. And some Republicans are keeping it as still a possibility. Even Rick Scott, he put his 11-point plan together. That was several months back. He put that out right before the election, the midterm election. And in that plan, they were going to sunset Social Security every 5 years. And what that means is every 5 years, they need to look into the spending. How are we spending when it comes to Social Security? And you can make cuts from that because it's on the table, because every 5 years, if they don't come to some type of an agreement to move forward with Social Security, then guess what? It will be shut down. And so that's bringing both sides to the table and say, okay, we need to look at how the spending is going if they can't agree. And just like I said, Democrats and Republicans have issues when it comes to what to cut. If they can't agree what to cut when it comes to Social Security and Medicare, then that program will be frozen and people won't receive their checks. And so this is something that we really need to continue to watch. And anytime Rick Scott gets on an interview, I always like to go and listen to what he has to say, because he's telling a lot of stuff that's just not true. And he's making it sound like, no, I'm telling you the truth, and they're not telling you the truth. But realistically, he's not telling you the truth. And I challenge anyone in the comments, let me know. You check this out, $280 billion, the $280 billion cut. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know if you agree or disagree when it comes down to it. Yes, these are good cuts. These are not bad cuts. But he's making it sound like it's something bad. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.